She's a phenomenal player.
And when you've got someone who moves markets, you have to pay attention to that person.
The women have the headlines, they have the fans, they have the viewers. When the hell are they going to get paid?
College basketball has never seen a bigger star than Caitlin Clark.
And you know, it's true, there has been no one like Caitlin Clark.
Indeed, Caitlin, we are aware that winning the title is the ultimate goal and that you would prefer to ignore the discussion of personal glory. But let's. After a rookie campaign that resembled a Marvel origin story, I'll do it for you because
she's the reason the WNBA just won the lottery. Without Caitlin Clark, nobody cares about any of these players or the league.
Someone has to blow your trumpet. Caitlin Clark should have entered 2025 as the obvious MVP frontrunner after breaking 62 records, leading.
This was by far the best year the WNBA has ever had.
Who, by the way, I'm going to go there, who happens to be white and brought a level of attention and allure to the sport it had not received before.
The standings to the playoffs and still finishing fourth in the MVP voting. But the media
set an all-time record for total television viewers at 54 million. They set an all-time record for the number of telecasts that reached at least 1 million viewers. They had their highest total attendance in more than 2 decades, up roughly 50% from last year. This was the kind of season that WNBA executives never imagined was even possible.
To their comfort blanket, Asia Wilson, the same name, the same narrative, and when it wasn't Asia, they would quickly turn to excuses more quickly than Angel Ree on a missed layup. Interview. However, the shift has now arrived, and it is noisy. Interview. After months of shady behavior, FanDuel bet MGM and yes, even ESPN.
She fills seats. She brings the cameras. She brings national publicity. We can lament it all we want to, but the fact of the matter is, Caitlin Clark is box office.
Leading the MVP race. Tide is not trailing, and this isn't just Twitter hype. This is Vegas talking, money talking, and we know what's coming energy, which is supported by receipts.
Caitlin Clark might be the first one to get up to $1 million.
Caitlin will win MVP this year. Leave a comment below with your CC MVP and let's go. Interview. They are gradually lining up, and all of a sudden the tone is a little less arrogant and a lot more serious than it was in 2024. When the media types were rolling their eyes and acting as though they were blind to the explosion in Indiana.
Pretty exciting. One of the big reasons fans flock to State Farm Arena is, of course, the Caitlin Clark effect.
She's a wonderful player. She brought a lot of eyeballs.
I think one of the things I love about Caitlin the most, like, do the thing that she knows everyone wants.
Might actually be her. The fans were aware for months that Caitlin Clark is not just good, but is also changing the rules. So what's causing the abrupt change? Everything, every sign,
to speak to her, to be around her, she's got charisma, she's got style, she's got bravado, she's got class, she's smart as hell. Communicates her thoughts very, very well. She is so incredibly marketable. I just think that she's elevating the profile of women's sports in a way that most women should deeply, deeply, deeply appreciate.
Every summer upgrade screamed MVP season was coming. Interview. The league isn't even prepared for Caitlin's impending supernova, but before we dive into her supremacy, hit the like button if you believe she will win MVP and subscribe to ensure you don't miss any of the hot.
These WNBA players playing overseas or playing in off-season leagues during their off-season because you're not making wages that are sustainable enough in the WNBA.
The entire Fever payroll is $1.2 million. That is less than the minimum salary for a single NBA player with a year's experience.
Interview. Caitlin's rookie season wasn't just outstanding. It was disrespectful to Logic's 62 records.
Fanatics sold more Clark jerseys in 1 hour after she was drafted than any other sport or player ever.
The crown jewel is the all-time WNBA single-season assist record as a rookie. That's not just exceptional, it's ridiculous, and she accomplished it while being the league's most scrutinized.
But in addition to the jersey sales, Clark now has an 8-year, $28 million deal with Nike that will include her own signature shoe. The deal is the richest sponsorship contract for a women's basketball player. She deserves it! She deserves it!
And televised player. Imagine setting records while avoiding criticism from the media every week. Interview. After the Olympic break, Caitlin made it a statement tour. Interview. Everyone with a working brain assumed that year 2 would be even more terrifying, but some analysts received courageous Bleacher reports. After the snub, she went ballistic, scoring 23 points per game and carrying Indiana like a backpack through the playoff push. She didn't
According to On3, her NIL valuation, meaning all of the money she made from her endorsements in college, currently sitting at $3.4 million. Nothing to sneeze at there. She was one of the highest paid college basketball players in that respect. But now she'll actually be getting paid to play the game in the WNBA, unlike collegiate basketball. She can also earn more money in the WNBA offseason through league sponsorships, up to $250,000 on a player marketing agreement through the league itself. There's also a $500,000 bonus split between the two Commissioners' Cup teams, as well as a $500,000 playoff pool.
Though, she leveled up the entire roster while being watched closely, which would have crushed most players. Expert in the WNBA nuked logic. In his 2025 rankings, Newcast Duncan ranked Caitlin 5th, 5 spots below Alyssa Thomas, who
every fourth commercial would have had Caitlin Clark. This is Caitlin Clark walking down the street wearing a pair of Nikes, wearing a Nike shirt that says Caitlin Clark. Anything. Her face would be everywhere with a swoosh on it.
0.6 points per game on average. Yes, he believed Thomas was better deserving of MVP honors. Interview. The reason for this is that, despite breaking the all-time scoring record, ESPN used the same tired, she hasn't won a ring yet argument to claim that
And guess what? It's going to change for the better because Caitlin Clark's going to help it change for the better. All of a sudden, we're going to see A'ja Wilson. She may get some more shine because she's that girl.
Top 5 college players of all time. This brought the sport into the mainstream and attracted more viewers than the men's championship game, but it wasn't in the top 5. Interview. The same story has been told over and over again.
I think they obviously are taking winning and capitalizing off of this Caitlin Clark moment they have going.
The WNBA saw a boom like we have never seen. We saw Caitlin Clark come into the league. We saw the Caitlin Clark effect. We saw the influx in fans who flooded to the WNBA, and many of those were there for Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Flowers, and the same ESPN that once excluded her from the GOAT list now has her ahead of A'ja Wilson and Nafisa Collier in the MVP race. Let's face it, though, it's a 3-horse race. After Breanna Stewart, the odds take a nosedive, and the rest are merely there for show. So what changed?
There is a lot of appropriate attention on Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, and we found out that the Fever Storm game from over the weekend drew 2.2 million viewers, which is massive. So you cannot deny the connectivity of Caitlin Clark playing basketball and people wanting to watch. If she's playing, they will come, they will watch the game.
The roster moves the momentum, but once training camp opened, people finally opened their eyes to what Fever fans already saw in bold, glowing lights. The rest of the world is just now catching up to Let's Start with the biggest piece coaching. Interview. Last season, Caitlin and the Fever were...
The WNBA tried to capitalize on her popularity and crammed a lot of games in over a short amount of time, playing against the best teams in the WNBA.
Efforts. No one publicly stated it, but the awkward silences spoke loudly because Caitlin herself had alluded to it early on by pointing out the chemistry office's lack of sideline feedback and the frustrated fans' body language, which wasn't subtle either. They watched close games slip away because of careless...
The ratings were phenomenal because of Caitlin Clark. But we all realize that Caitlin Clark single-handedly is responsible for the WNBA mattering.
The one thing that I love that she's bringing to her sport, more people want to watch. More people want to tune in.
Sets, so Indiana made the best move they could enter the game. Stephanie White, a qualified basketball brainiac and 2023 Coach of the Year.
While Caitlin is fantastic and I think she's going to have an incredible career in the WNBA,
who's going to be the next face of the NBA? We don't get to decide that. The marketplace decides that. The people have chosen Caitlin Clark.
Even the skeptics are now acknowledging that this was a glow-up, which Fever supporters understood from the beginning. Stephanie contributes purpose, organization, and plays that make sense in reality. Interview. White's presence will win games, but more significantly, it will maximize Caitlyn's cleaner offense, smarter subs movement purpose. And Caitlyn feeding teammates who are actually in the right spot to score. Hello, assist explosion efficiency goes up, turnovers go down, wins stack up, and all of a sudden the MVP narrative isn't a...
Caitlin Clark is the GOAT.
She signed my jersey. So happy, I'm crying. I'm so happy. This is the best day ever.
Caitlin Clark effect seems to be crazier than year one.
I love watching her score and just everything about
it. And Caitlyn is clearly feeling good. Interview. They essentially watched the Avengers in the front office of Indiana and said, yeah, let's do that. They added Brianna Turner, a walking defensive anchor, and Sophie Cunningham, a certified menace, the type of player who's chirping in your ear while draining threes in your face, to the roster.
There is nobody interesting in the WNBA past or present except for Caitlin Clark. They've all shown themselves to be sexist, racist, petty, ridiculous.
She's really looking out for everybody else. And it's so sad that there are so many people that continue to turn a blind eye to that. Knowing how selfless she is, and they still want to say, Caitlin Clark, you know, she's not the reason. Let's give other players their flowers. No, Caitlin Clark is the reason.
Player like Natasha Howard and Sydney Colson, proven champions with championship DNA who know the grind and don't crumble when the lights get too bright. Indiana also got a gym. Interview. And the vibe queen herself, Dana Bonner. Let's just say that
if I was the WNBA, I would have considered a separate television package to a network on just Caitlin Clark games. I would have had two packages, the WNBA package, and then a separate, let's say, 15 to 18 game Caitlin Clark package.
Established herself as the team's emotional GPS. The players talk about her with respect and trust. She is a two-time champion who provides the steady hand this rocket ship needs, whether it be to calm nerves or focus. She is the steady heartbeat behind the flash. Interview. But according to Seattle's Lexi Brown, who has witnessed it all, it's not just about stacking resumes. It's about chemistry. This team is locked in, with the big personalities shouting, the younger players listening, the veterans leading Coach White setting the standard, and you can feel the culture shift from the sideline to the locker room. This team appears united, dangerous, and
she could potentially be one of the best point guards to ever play in the WNBA.
And I want to personally thank Caitlin Clark for lifting up our sport.
Caitlin Clark has done is grown the WNBA exponentially. She did in 5 weeks what would have taken 5 years.
Everything is in place. The WNBA's old guard party is being crashed by Caitlin Clark, the unstoppable force officially starting her MVP season, and guess who isn't excited? A'ja Wilson is quiet, but it's beginning to sound like a panic attack. You can practically hear the teeth clenching beneath the forced smiles during press conferences while Reed drafts a subtweet. T.
Caitlin Clark is becoming the best player in the entire WNBA, not because she's white, because she's that good.
I think Caitlin Clark does maybe better than anybody in sports right now, and makes it about others, makes it about team. Think about it. When's the last time you didn't see Caitlin Clark talking about a teammate? When's the last time you saw Caitlin Clark talking about herself or any of the accomplishments that she has had? Let me give you the answer to that. Never!
The best player in America, the best shooter in America. Watch her play. She plays at a high level.
She's going to break records nonstop for the next couple years.
She's the only one capable of taking nothing and making it something.
They asserted that no WNBA woman would ever reach the $1 million milestone not by way of league salary, not via talent alone, nor through influence. The figures told the story for years. Interview. Limited sponsorships